Hey, folks, how you doing? This is Kurt Von Onen here with Manana Nomaz, and not a scheduled live, just one I wanted to come on out and communicate to you a little bit. I have had the pleasure of being pulled in multiple directions this week, as many of us, as many of us are in our day to day. So yesterday, I made a podcast with Jonathan on the Membership Machine Show, and the subject we covered was the use of AI chatbots. And then we reviewed, I think, five different AI chatbot tools, kind of their value proposition, their cost, what they did, things like that. And then at the end of the show, I was kind of like, well, it really depends on use case. I mean, do I really need to have do I really need to have an AI tool on my website that I'm paying $50 a month for to answer some questions when I could just use a non-AI chatbot that would answer frequently asked questions and take people down a path that I want to take them down. And so that comes to a very interesting discussion about use case. So I end up talking about use case a lot. When I do the lives with Lifter LMS and people are asking me questions about a learning management system, that as soon as you say, I want to add a learning management system to my website, you are opening up the ability to complicate things greatly because it just depends on your use case. There are very simple ways to say, oh, I just want to be able to offer a course to people on my website. Okay, great, offer the course. But now I want to sell the course. Now I want to sell the course to corporations. Now I want to allow other people to add courses to my site and sell courses and do an automated revenue split. Now, so you can see where I'm going with this. The use case kind of determines the tool set and then how to push forward. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today was two people that I have a lot of respect for in the space, and two very, very different personalities, I believe myself. I've spoken to both gentlemen before. I've had real time conversations. Um, both of them are, both of them, as far as I'm concerned, are geniuses within the space. And by within the space, I'm talking about kind of like the WordPress community, websites for businesses, how agencies use websites, things like that. So I'm thinking in this not just not just WordPress, but I'm thinking like as an agency, as business to business, as so you put the right framework into place for who we're actually talking about. And one of them is Kevin Geary. Kevin Geary, very opinionated, strong personality type. I I think there is so much value in what he is putting out. If you can get past his brash personality, if you can get past his directness and communication, um, Jonathan from WP Tonic, he's accused me of being a diplomat at sometimes. And sometimes I go, I'm not that diplomatic. I'm pretty direct. But then when you talk to someone like Kevin, you go, oh, no, 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 no. That's the definition of direct. He's pretty direct. So if you can absorb that directness, the information that he shares is pretty stinking incredible and valuable. And so there's him, and then kind of like on this other side of the spectrum, and I don't want this to sound. This is not an offhanded comment comment to either one. They're both geniuses. Uh, but Matt Medeiros has a more subtle approach. It's not subtle's not the word I'm looking for. I'm looking for like more of a grassrootsy kind of thing. Let me explain the difference. Again, I'm going to talk about use case. Use case. So let's take a look at this screen share real quick over here. This screen share is of a live etch event that Kevin Geary was doing Monday. I want to say this was Monday. And basically, he's redoing this hero section, but he's using a tool called Etch that he's in control of as far as its development stuff. There's a development team. And so you can see he's got elements over here on the right that are kind of saying, this is what's on the screen. He's got CSS down here. He's got HTML over here. He's got different components and things off to the side. And as this site is being developed in real time, in this feature. Now, look, this is a 3-hour live I'm looking at right here. So this was like a 3-hour presentation that he gave on using this product and building out the front of this website and showing people how things worked. And so as I go through these different screenshots that I'm clipping here for you, you can kind of see what he's doing, right? Kevin's up here in the upper right. He's talking away. He's doing his thing. He is educating. Now, let me be super, super clear when I talk about Etch. He got all my money. He got all my money. When Kevin announced Etch, there was nothing to even see. There wasn't even a screenshot to look at. But when he verbalized what Etch was going to be able to do, I was like, take my money, just take my money. And if I'm still alive when it's released, bonus for me. Like literally, I didn't run a stopwatch. I didn't get all weird about spending the money. It's like, here's the money. If you can build this, let's see what it does. And let's be clear, as an agency, we have bought a lot of programs we have never used, right? We'll buy something and it won't suit the need, or we'll buy something and it doesn't live up to what it's promised to be, or we'll buy something and in practice, it just kind of sucks. So I'm kind of used to taking a little bit of risk now and then. As a business owner, risk is part of the game. I don't exactly have a fear of missing out because there's a lot of things that I'll pass on. For instance, I'm not jumping on the Divi 5 thing or whatever that thing's about. I'm not even entertaining going down that road. Elementor is making some big changes, and I've been with Elementor for years. I still subscribe to Elementor, but I'm not really committed to sticking with Elementor and seeing what they change going forward. When I see something like Etch work, so like I said, they got all my money up front. They got all my money up front. I already paid for it. I'm in for life. Okay. So I'm in for life. I'm in Etch. Now Kevin comes along and he says, let's do a status update and show you where we're at. Let me show you what Etch can do. And he jumps in and he starts remaking this website and he's using the different tools. I got to tell you, folks, the learning curve, right? I got a lot of learning to do. I am not a developer-oriented person. I understand some CSS. I understand some abstractions. I understand HTML a little bit. I understand, but leveraging all of these different tools and experiences and being able to have the confidence that Kevin shows on screen doing all this stuff, to me, that's awestruck enough, right? But what he showed us and what is available on that YouTube video, I just had it up on screen here. You could just go right to Etch, just look up Etch on YouTube and it's there. You'll see it. I'll even make it bigger for you so you can see what's going on here. So there's an Etch channel now, right? And he says the Etch live event, Kevin Geary, right? Boom. And see how I'm subscribed? I think you should subscribe too. It was really, really good stuff. The amount I go where there, here I am. Let me put it back. There we go. So the depth and the freedom to design in Etch is unlike anything I've ever seen. As an agency owner working in the space, to be able to look at like a blank slate and go, I just want to start building. And we all know that websites are just a series of blocks, okay? But the idea that I could put these blocks in, and this is a section, and this is a container, and this is a block, and this is and move things around and have the freedom to do what Etch allows to do and to build in real time. And here's the kicker. This makes Etch worth all the money to me. All the money. I get good at building stuff in Etch, but my clients don't want to learn a new page builder. They don't have the patience to want to learn a new system. They just want to sign in and change the heading on the home page. They just want to sign in and swap out the picture on the contact page. You know what it's like when you own a business and you're like, I don't want to call the agency because it takes them forever to do anything. By the way, it's not the case with Mañana Nomás. But, perhaps the owner of the business is like, man, I just need someone on staff to change this picture. I just need someone to change this heading. When you build an Etch, it automates the Gutenberg block building process, which means I can give the customer access to the back end of the website to edit the home page, the contact page, the whatever page. They can make edits using Gutenberg, and it automatically translates back and forth between Etch and Gutenberg. Right. And I keep saying Gutenberg, but it's really like the block editor. Right. So it automates making all of that stuff in the block editor. So whatever I make in Etch is automatically in blocks and is adjustable by the customer in blocks. That's so important to hear, because if I build something in Elementor for a customer, I end up having to teach them how to use Elementor. If I do something in Divi for a customer, they're stuck in Divi forever. They can't get out of it. So imagine you build something in Etch, and so you have that high level access that you're looking for as an agency to be able to build things quickly and to do what you want to do, and to control elements of the page that might not be so easy to control in other editors. You build all that, but then boom, you don't have to teach the customer about a page builder. All they got to do is sign in and change a heading or a picture. Works out really, really good. Now, the second genius that is on my list is Matt Medeiros. And Matt Medeiros comes along, and I just saw this today. It looks like he posted this 6 or 7 hours ago. I'll put this up on stage here so you can see this, and we'll make this a little bit bigger for you as well. What Matt Medeiros does today, and correct me if it says 5 hours ago. So he says he put up this video 5 hours ago. He jumps in completely in a raw WordPress installation using a standard WordPress 2025 theme, which is free and comes with WordPress. And he says, hey, let's build out an e-commerce website using Gravity Forms, the standard theme, some stock images off the internet, and with Gravity Forms, I can show you how to be able to give out the newsletter and have people sign up for a beer club. And so he runs through this thing, and he does it pretty quickly. You know, Kevin's thing was 3 hours. This was 37 minutes. And so what you see happen here is, as I go through a couple of screen shares of what Matt is sharing in his 37 minutes, he is basically, so this is where they were setting up the form to sign up for the beer club. And then they went back to test the payment structure, and you can see everything was working there. Now, here's what I always find interesting when I review the work of these people that I call geniuses. And I did this before. I went through a thing where I went through a thing before where I took a look at, let me see if I come back. Let me see if I come back. There I am. I took a look at the websites for Kevin Geary, Mark Zemansky, the guy from WP Tuts and or Tuts WP, and Jamie Marsland. And I looked at their websites and I said, okay, these are people that are talking about a higher level of design. These are the people that are making content. They're content developers telling other people in a business to business format, maybe geared at agencies or geared towards freelancers, to up your game, to be a better designer, to be a better developer. Kevin for sure is on that page. Kevin is like, let's just take a look at the code that Elementor does. Take a look at the code that this one does. You know, this one's much better. This is, you know, and a lot of people don't have any care whatsoever about the stuff that Kevin is talking about. And Kevin would immediately dismiss them. He would say, I am focused on the WordPress professional. I am focused on the person that wants to do things at a high level, at a very, using best practices and blah, blah, blah. He has all these great things to say. Now, that being said, there is a huge proportion of the internet out there that just wants a website. They just want a website that works. And there's so many people that get wrapped up in, you should be on Divi, you should be on Elementor, you should use the block editor, you should do this, you should do that. This is this code, this code, that. At the end of the day, customers, business owners, they just want a website that works. They just want one that is either a marketing brochure style website where they can share their message and hopefully get some people to pay attention to them, or it's a food truck and they just need to sell some tacos. They just need the site to work. And so when I look at the way that Matt Medeiros addressed it today in the tap room example, you know, he was like, hey, let's just do this thing. It's a tap room with a beer club. And how do we do an MVP, a minimal viable product, to advertise our brewery and our beer club? And in 40 minutes. He knocks that out, knocks it out of the park too. As far as I'm concerned, the website looked good, smelled good, performed good, all of that. It was pretty lightweight as far as like plugins. And if people were to like, look, let's take a look at your code, there wouldn't be a lot of code in there because there wasn't a lot of additions to it. It was Gravity Forms with a couple of extensions through Gravity Forms, one for MailChimp to activate the newsletter and one for Square so that it could activate the purchase of the beer club. And that was it. And it was done and it was clean and it was good looking. And it serves a really important use case. That use case is a startup business that doesn't have $20,000 for a website. That's like a startup business that says, hey, what can you get me going for $1,000 or for $1,500 and maybe $50 a month in hosting, or maybe $35 a month in hosting? Those types of projects are all over the place. And that's why at Manana No Mas, we offer a productized startup web service. We take a look at the different things that some businesses might want. For example, we have one that's for like construction remodeling. So if you are a contractor and you're like, man, I've always had business cards in my pocket, but I've never had a website. You just come to Manana No Mas. We have a construction website template. We take that template that already comes with all the tools. So it comes with a way for people to make appointments for estimates. It comes with a way to invoice people for work done so they can pay electronically. It comes with a way to let people pay for work before you show up to do the work. And of course, it gives you, the pages of a website so that you can say, here's the work that we've done in the past. Here's a couple of before and after shots. Here's the results that we've gotten. Here's the testimonials from our customers. Join our email list here. Who wouldn't want to join an email list for a remodeler? Because you're going to put out once a month, you're going to put out things, say, here's the projects we did this month, before and after shots. And you're going to try and get people inspired to want to do projects around the house to increase your business. Like, that's the deal. So at Manana No Mas, we offer that package. It's $1,500. We set it up for you. We changed the icon for the logo. We put a couple of your pictures in to replace the stock photos, and we assign your email address to it so that it works. And then we assign you the website, like it's your website. It's your website, and it's $1,500 and $79 a month to keep it going. We host it for you. We take care of all the updates. We maintain the WordPress core plugin. We maintain it and we keep it going for you on our servers, and you run the website, like, meaning it's yours to promote, and you have the freedom because it's WordPress. If you like, hey, it's great, but I really don't want to host with Kurt anymore. I moved to Maine and I want to use a local host in Maine. Fine. Migrate your website. You can take it. It's yours. We have the same thing for a food truck. We have another one for consultants. We have a template for people that want to sell courses, but allow other people to sell courses through their website. We have a course marketplace template that we can sell to people. That one is not as cheap. That one takes a little bit more work, takes a little more horsepower to run. Okay. But we have that. I think these are great products. So when I look at things, I look at use case. Is there a use case where you just want to use a couple of tools, knock something out using patterns directly out of WordPress, and within an hour or two have a website done? Keep in mind, someone like Matt built that thing in 40 minutes. Might take me 40 minutes or an hour. Might take another friend of mine an hour and a half to 2 hours. A small business owner that doesn't have 20 years of experience building websites in WordPress, it's going to take them weeks to get that done. And that's what so many people don't understand about the value of working with someone that knows what they're doing in the space. There's a reason why someone like me talks to you, does a needs analysis and says, yeah, we can do that for you. That particular project is probably going to run about $8,000 and $150 a month in hosting. Like, if we have that conversation and I give you that dollar amount, that's a real dollar amount. I've been working in WordPress since 2004. I know what tools I'm going to need. I know how to set up those tools, and I know how to optimize those tools to work for your benefit. So when you see people on the internet that make things, look easy, just know that there's a decade of knowledge, backing up what you just saw happen lickety split. Now, is there a use case then for what Kevin had shown off? 3 hours of CSS and HTML and abstractions and short codes and all of these things? The answer is also yes. The answer is also yes. It's kind of like the conversation I had with Jonathan yesterday about these uh, chat chat things. Um, if someone wants to use an AI chatbot, some people get focused on, oh, I got to use AI. I got to use an AI chatbot. Why? Like Emily Middleton famously asks why all the time. Like why? What? Where? Why do you believe that? Why do you think you need to have that? And more times than not, it's like because I saw it and it looked really cool, or one of my friends said I needed to have it. Most people that are looking for an AI chatbot don't have enough documentation to teach an AI chatbot because it needs a ton of content to be able to have a conversation with a user. So if you don't have the content, you certainly don't have the need for one yet. What you really have is a need to develop the content. Then after you have the content, you can have the conversation about the AI chatbot. I go the same, so it's use case, right? Are there other tools out there that would allow me to have that AI chatbot experience for my end user, but be much more budget minded? Absolutely, absolutely. And so when we take a look at Matt's example of making a website for, a small tap room for a small brewery, that use case knocks it out of the park. Just like I said, we have one for a general contractor, a remodeler, a small construction company, a food truck, a local restaurant, a laundromat. Um, when you take a look at those types of niches, those types of projects, these smaller projects work really well. These productized projects, they work really well. They get people up and going. It fits a need, and it helps them to grow. Helps them to grow. When I take a look at Kevin's project, I start thinking about websites that aren't 4 or 5 pages deep. I think about websites that are hundreds of pages deep. I think about some of the enterprise work I've done in the past. And what I love about his class first building structure is when you assign classes to elements inside websites, you're able to make a change in one thing. And because it's synced with all of its other classmates, that change will happen throughout the whole website. That opens up a whole new door of productivity for agencies like Manana No Mas. You see, before we were working in Elementor, and when we worked in Elementor, if somebody wanted to make a change to, let's say they have like those pricing tables at the bottom of a website, they got like 3 or 4 blocks, and then that pricing table is duplicated 5, 6, 7 more times in the website. And then someone comes along and says, I think we should put a red box around that. And you go, around what that? What red box? What are you talking about? And they go, oh, I think each of these squares should have a little red box around it. And you go, oh, okay, I can do that for you. And then you go, red box, red box, red box, red box, right? But you're not done because you got it on 5, 6, 7 other pages. And then you go to each of those pages, red box, red box, red box, red box, save, 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 go and look at the work, make sure it came out right. It's crazy, but that is sometimes what we get locked into. There's a lot of people that come to me at Manana No Mas and they say, we already have a website. Would you be willing to help us? We haven't had it maintained in 5 years. We haven't had anyone work on our website in 5 or 6 years. We know it needs updated. Can you help us? And a lot of times I get into the back end of these websites and I'm like, the only way I'm going to be able to help you is to start over. Or you can pay me twice as much to try and clean this up and fix it and update it. But realistically, you probably should just start over. And it's because, to steal a word from Kevin, he says that's chump like behavior. It's chump like behavior to build things where everything is one thing at a time. If we can build things that are 8 things at a time, 10 things at a time, 12 things at a time, then it increases our productivity a ton, which in business terms means it's going to increase my margins. In a selfish way, pardon me. Oof. I think about a website that I did 3, 4 years ago, and let's say it's in the $18,000 to $20,000 range. And that may have taken me 1,000 hours. I wish I was lying. I wish I was lying. But by the time you take in the meetings, the stakeholder meetings, marketing gets involved, branding's involved, the vice president's got to say, operations gets involved. You're working with an enterprise level company, and you got all this stuff going on, and then you're realizing I should have bid this job at $60,000 or $80,000. Why am I working this hard for 20 grand? And when you sold it, you thought 20 grand was the world. You thought $20,000 was like, I can't believe someone's going to pay me 20 grand to make a website. And then when you start doing it, you're like, oh my God, I didn't charge enough. Well, then I start thinking, using tools like what Kevin is putting out now, instead of saying, I'm going to sell you this for $20,000 and it's going to take me 1,000 hours to build it, literally, I can get that time down to 350, 400 hours. So what does that do to your margins if you reduce your labor by 55, 60% in regards to time spent? But there's the front-loaded cost of labor, which is learning all of the new tools, all of the new processes, all of the new things. There are people in the space that will say, Kurt, don't be naive. This isn't new. Like, these best practices that Kevin's talking about, these aren't new. Everyone knew we were supposed to do this. But when I was using tools like Elementor, WP Bakery popped up on a couple of sites that I had to maintain for people. Gutenberg, the original block editor, I was using that for a ton of time. Went into Astra and Cadence and used some of their tools like Spectra and Cadence Pro. But in the grand scheme of things, I was not building at an efficiency that Kevin is representing with Etch. And so I'm very curious to see what that's going to do to margins over the next 24 to 36 months. So that all being said, I wanted to bring those two things to light. So if you're watching this, and I'm going to check comments. I haven't checked comments in a bit. I see people are here, but nobody's commenting yet. So if you have any comments about your own experiences in WordPress or working with an agency in WordPress, or you have questions about me and working with me as an agency in WordPress, feel free to jump in. But what I really wanted to point out here was two people that I consider to be geniuses. And I'm not exaggerating. They're both very, very talented communicators, and they're very educated in what they do. So when you have, and I know them, right? Like, so I know these people. So it's not like some make-believe thing. It's not like I'm talking about, Barbara Streisand and somebody else, right? It's like I know these people. So if I am taking a look at what Kevin was talking about with Etch, and I'm taking a look at what Matt was doing with the standard theme that comes with a free WordPress installation, I take a look at that and I go, talk about two completely different ballparks. But at the end, as the end user, if you were to get to either one of those websites, go look at those videos that I was just doing the screen shares of. If you're the end user and you go to either one of those websites, is there any magic in one of those websites that's going to make you go, oh, I would buy that instead of that? The way this website looks and feels and smells, I would spend my money more freely here than I would here. No. That's the amazing part about working in WordPress, working on the internet, and consulting with businesses about how business actually works. In the customer's mind, is there a difference between the site that Kevin was building and the site that Matt was building in those two video examples? There really is not a qualitative difference in the two videos as far as consumers coming in and purchasing and doing things. Now, again, I'm driven by use case. What Kevin was describing, I picture that on a much deeper, more expanded website, an enterprise level site with lots of different custom fields and brandings and pages and post types and all those things. So it would be a different product. Okay. But looking at what they did, the two things this week, that video and Matt's video. If I take a look at Kevin's and Matt's video, you couldn't be in two more different ballparks. One that's built with top level, top coding, top development, top forethought. And forethought's a big thing. When Kevin designs a website, he's telling you up front, All of this is forethought. All of this is mathematically spaced. All of this has so many gaps. All of this, it's all done. And when we looked at Matt build the site, Matt was like, hey, let's grab a pattern here out of the pattern library and let's throw some stock images in it. And that's two different ballparks, two completely different work styles. But at the end of the day, as an agency owner that gets to work in both environments, remember, I've got a startup lane where I help local businesses launch their local business. I could not be more sold out or more committed to helping entrepreneurs in my region find success online. I love it. Like I run the WordPress meetup here in town. That's a free thing. Anyone can come to WordPress meetup. There's no prerequisites of education to come to WordPress meetup. I host it every month. I look forward to people coming in and talking about WordPress and hanging out with me. But I've got that channel, and I've also got that enterprise channel that we build through Mañana Nomás, where we specialize in taking SCORM content from really outdated but hugely expensive SCORM purposed websites. And we take that SCORM material, put them into a Lifter LMS powered WordPress website, and then develop a whole CMS around the LMS to give our corporate clients a much more full, well-rounded online experience for their learning material than they probably imagined ever really having, right? Where there's the freedom of design and there's the freedom of different automation and things like that they couldn't do in their LMS website. We can build that into their WordPress website. So, like I said, two completely different ballparks. At the end of the day, is one right? Is one wrong? I don't think either one is wrong. I don't think either one is wrong. But you have to know your use case. And if you're an agency owner like myself, you have to know your clients' needs, and your clients' budgets. And then you have to be very transparent and honest when you talk to people about how you're going to execute for them. Because if I'm going to execute the Matt style of doing something like what was just shown today, there's going to be a restricted budget on that. That's going to be, yeah, I can do this for you, but this is what it's going to be. This is how we're going to build it. And these are going to be the limitations. Whereas if I go into the Kevin Geary way of building something through Etch, that conversation is going to be more like, absolutely, you came at me with your giant wish list. I can make that giant wish list true. It's going to cost this much and it's going to take this long. And let's get started. Write a check. Right. But it's just a different use case for a different ballpark. I am blown away at both people. Kevin did an amazing marathon presentation of his work this week, and I thought that was really good. So if you're at all interested in this kind of stuff, go look up Kevin Geary and Etch on YouTube and go see that 3-hour sit down and see how he does that website in this new product called Etch. It was really cool. However, if you're kind of like new to WordPress and you're like, how do I jumpstart this? How do I get over my writer's block, in terms of web design? How do I get over my writer's block and really get started? How do I get motivated? How do I see how these things really gel? Because let's be honest, we see websites all the time, and then think about what the new person feels like. Think about when you got started in WordPress and you download WordPress and you open up the page and there's nothing there. It says, hello world. And you're going, hello world, what? There's no pictures. There's nothing there. Or if you put a template in, you go, well, now what? Right? So if you go and you look at Matt Medeiros' video and you see about, create a brewery website, the one they just put out today, I think that would put you at ease quite a bit, because that is pretty cool. So two geniuses in the field, two completely different takes on creating WordPress websites in today's workspace. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here for both. I'm absolutely here for both. My business is broken into two distinct pathways on purpose. The one is very much the Matt Medeiros channel, very much helping new local businesses get a quick start, get something up on the internet, and be able to take action with some kind of revenue generating machine, something, right? Just get something going. And then very much in alignment with what Kevin is doing and how it's going to open some things up for us with our enterprise packages as we roll forward. Again, like I said, 24 to 36 months. And we've got some other stuff in the background here that we're working on at Manana No Mas that will greatly increase our capacity to do this kind of work. And so everything just seems to be falling into place right now. And I'm able to forecast a really strong pathway. So things are good. Folks, I didn't see any comments come in. If you left one and it didn't come through yet for some reason, I apologize. But this is out on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. If we're not already connected, I encourage you to connect. I'm the only Kurt Von Ahnen on LinkedIn, so I'm easy to find. So you go to Kurt Von Ahnen, hit that connection. We'll connect through there. If you're interested in anything that Manana No Mas is doing, just go to manananomas.com or search up Manana No Mas on Facebook, on X. Where else? YouTube. YouTube is Manana No Mas as well. And I would love to catch up with you there. And have yourself a wonderful day. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.